a couple of the CS guys putting together some planes. This is the Easy Master from HobbyKing. Hand that over to you, Doc.
Thanks, sir.
Doc and Lenny, they're building some planes for us here, helping us out. I know what you guys are interested in, the blue foamy update. Come on. So, under and up. Guys, this is almost the culmination of my efforts, the blue foam challenge. You guys picked it, you picked the SEFF design, that's what I ended up cutting out for you. I know one of the things that you were really, there goes the rudder. I know one of the things that you guys are really concerned about was my power system. Check it out, we went with the RotorMax 80cc motor. Dungeon Sound 1, I know you were asking us what prop choice we were going to use. On this motor, we're going to be using a 27x10 prop. We're going to be running a 200 amp speed control running on 12S. I have not weighed this thing on purpose because I don't want to weigh it until we've got all the materials into it, but I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere between the 18 to 25 pound range, and this motor with that prop combination on those batteries is going to give us approximately 50 pounds of thrust. With that setup, that's going to give us that unlimited 3D combo, that's going to give us a 2-to-1 thrust to weight ratio. It should be stellar. Now, I know with it on the table here, we've got it on blocks here, the 4x4 is just holding it level. You don't really get an idea of the scale of this thing. Let me just pick it up and show you guys just how enormous this monster really is.
Oh my goodness.
James, can you get this whole thing in frame?
Not with this lens.
Oh, it really is turning out well. When I first started this project, you know, Stuart handed it down, I was like, 3-meter foamy, that's dopey. How long did it take me to fall in love with this thing, man?
About 10 minutes.
Now over here we have the plywood coming down, and right here comes to the bottom. I figured I'd integrate my motor mount, landing gear mount into that as well. I'll show you the landing gear in a second, but it's going to mount up right here. Let me pop it down so I can show you the rest of what we've been doing. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Back under the bridge. This thing is so cool. Alright, so one of my major concerns on this thing was how the heck are we going to transport it? It's tremendous. I wanted to make the wings removable, but at the same time, that gives you an issue. How are you going to stop the wings from their torsion and everything else if they are removable? What I ended up doing was, as you guys saw before, we put these cardboard tubes in with an aluminum tube inside. Through this tube underneath the wing is a carbon fiber rod that's pinning that in. That's also creating a stop for the aluminum tube. Then back on the top side, I wanted to find something light to secure it in. These right here are called turlet bolts. If you just go to the hardware store, tell them a guy from New York told you to pick up some turlet bolts, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. You can pick them up, it's easy. Now, going through the turlet bolts, I picked this up. This is just flexible sprinkler hose line. I cut 2 pieces of that, sunk it into each section just to give it a little bit of reinforcement so the foam doesn't crush down when you put the bolts in. It's going to be resting on these. It's giving a little bit of support. Those are epoxied in there. One of the other things with the removable wings that we were a little bit concerned about, I know some of you guys said, oh, right here you got a weak spot where those 2 carbon fiber pieces come into a V. I addressed that concern. What I'm going to do is, like your other foamies, you have a wing spar that goes on the bottom of the wing, just come on down here, going kind of like that, right into the fuselage. That I do want to recreate, but how do you do that with having the wings removable at the same time? What I've come up with as a solution to that, we've got some of this vinyl tubing. I'm going to epoxy that clear through the fuselage in different spots. I'm going to through drill the tubing and the carbon fiber rod, which fits in nicely, and then simply put a cotter pin through the whole thing just to hold it in place. So the wing spars are going to be removable, the wings come out, fuselage is left by itself. As far as the landing gear goes, I showed you guys up front where it comes down into that mount. I went out and I purchased some flat aluminum, just stock. It's a little bit flexible for my liking. I bent up a little bit there so we can see what kind of, that's where I'm going to drill some holes and bolt it up there, but a little bit too flexible for my liking. I went over to my buddy Matt. He had some rotor bits. So what I'm gonna do is end up bolting this to the bottom of the landing gear, and that solves that. It's very, very, very stiff. As far as some wheels, our friend Stuart over at HobbyKing sent us some really light wheels. They're gonna work out perfect. We are just waiting for a couple servos, some servo leads. We got a power distribution board that's coming our way. I have a lot of work to do to get this thing ready. The end of the week, she's gonna fly.